You gonna leak the build?
Oh, I'm not sharing my build. I'm like, take me out to dinner first.
Just do it.
I've been saying for years that Chisels are pointless.
Surprise, surprise! It's still really good.
I know you. You're always thinking you're.
That's just wild.
Then they're very, very good.
It's crazy.
Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the PoE Report, a podcast about all things Path of Exile from myself, Dreamcore, and my co-host, Palstron. How are you doing today, dude?
Hey, how's it going? Today we got a special guest here. First week of Mirage. We've got somebody who can talk to us a little bit more about the in-depth experience of the Atlas, a little bit about endgame, somebody who's very in tune with the meta usually. So we got the man with two names, the tier 7 map farmer, burnt peanut impersonator, and also one of my favorite people, period, Milky BK. How's it going, man?
Well, this is like one of my first times on a podcast, and that was an amazing introduction. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Big fans of you both, so yeah, I'm excited to talk about it. I will say you've given me a bit too much credit because I had a rough league start, so I'm sure we'll get into that. But yeah, I've had my feet on the ground. I've been figuring some stuff out. Yeah,
I know you. You're always thinking. Your gears are always spinning, right? So you got some stuff to say. So
absolutely.
All right. So how about we just start out with the new Atlas in general? Like, how did you guys like the progression? Everything kind of changed. It's now split in quadrants. How does that kind of affect progression and fun in general?
Well,
I found it to be. I just found it to be 100% smoother. Like, at no point did I ever run into I didn't have a map, or like I was annoyed that I'd corrupted something wrong, or the only issue was when you go the wrong way and you didn't know. But that's kind of a first time thing, right? Like, we're not going to do that again. We know where the Exarch invitation is now. We know where the Eta one is. So for me, as someone that's not much of a racer, it was amazing for me because I just blasted through and I actually just got my full completion done very fast.
Yeah.
I feel like all the bad stuff that happened was just because it was new and somebody's going to make a video and everybody who is new will watch that video and everybody who isn't already kind of knows. Go left bottom first, don't go right bottom first, and stuff like that, right? But yeah.
I think the thing about like the wayfinding, the whole, missing, sort of you just don't know where this one fragment needs to go or something, and then you got the fragment but you can't use it yet. That was a little bit weird. I think that we'll probably get more used to that. But in terms of just the, just having blank maps and just progressing your Atlas, it felt so much better rather than like having to have this specific layout to be able to complete that map. It was just so much. It was just a much smoother progression system. It feels so much better.
It was so
fun.
One
of those changes where they sometimes just make changes where you didn't know you wanted it, but it's like it makes you think, why was it ever not this way? And so the blank maps for me are that.
And it was so funny because before the league, everybody was freaking out about, maybe we get towers in PoE 1. But I think that the people underestimate the synergy between PoE 2 and PoE 1. And as long as GG knows which small things to carry over, for example, the Waystone system into PoE 1, it's actually way better than in PoE 2 even. That system fits perfectly. It fits like a glove because you have a fixed Atlas. You know exactly what's going on. You can just have a Conqueror map and you can run it in any layout. You don't have to think. You can run any 8-mod map now. It's just an absolute dream come true. And I'm just really happy that they're taking stuff from PoE 2 and porting it over. One thing I will say that pissed me off is in the middle, the influence, the circles, they seem like they go into a direction, but they have nothing to do with the direction. Do you guys know what I mean? Like top is Maven, and left bottom is, I think, Exarch, and right bottom is...
yeah.
So
it's not super intuitive, I guess.
Yeah,
could do a better job of that. No.
Yeah.
That is definitely like teething issues, I think, with that new system. Like I think UX has always been a bit of a weird one in PoE. Like a lot of the systems definitely could do with improvement, but yeah, that is a weird one because you have I think it's Eta is bottom left, or maybe Exarch's bottom left, Maven's at the top. But it's like, obviously, now we have one quadrant is Eta and Exarch together. And then, so that doesn't really make much sense, but yeah.
Yeah, it's also, I mean, the micromanagement, they reduced this patch with removing Chisels and just giving it as a global buff and actually making the clicks matter. So you have the new Maven Chisels that are a little bit weaker, but still extremely strong. So you now have this interesting dichotomy between either you run 8 mods or you run chiseled 6 mods that you can also roll. I think it's just very, very interesting. And you have Mirage maps, you have 16.5s, you have Nightmare maps. There's so much diversity in terms of what you farm. And I really want to know how this is going to progress into like week 2, week 3, and what people are going to do.
Yeah, I think it's just a generally good improvement. And I really like the point you touched on there about them taking the good parts from PoE 2, because I think that's something that they can kind of lean on for both games. They can take the good things from PoE 1, put it into PoE 2, take the things that work from PoE 2 and, you know, put it into PoE 1 and just improve both games at the same time. It's a good improvement overall, I think.
I guess one thing I wanted to ask Milk here is about Astrolabes. How do you like Astrolabes and how they kind of expand endgame? Do you feel like they're just sextants but different, or do you think they add something fun?
I don't think they're sextants but different, but I think they missed a little bit for me. Maybe it's too early to say, but I do think they've missed a little bit just because they're just an amount more stuff, right? Because you can't really control what you're doing, otherwise you have to do the different maps, which for a lot of mechanics is a really bad thing. If you're doing Legion, then you don't want to run a cells, so on. So you end up having to do the Keystone, which then means you can't even dictate what mods you get. And even if you were to do different maps, then you're in this weird situation where, okay, you have a good mod here, you go do it, but then it disappears. So you could instead choose a good mod and then put the Keystone and like sometimes run it and sometimes not. So to me, it's the actual like use. You're always going to put it on because it's just more stuff. But the actual way you play with it, to me, isn't very interesting because it's kind of just you get what you get and deal with it. It's kind of like a budget risk Scarab in a way. Like you just get what you get. There's not. Yeah, I don't think you have enough control over it. It's kind of what I didn't like about the petals as well.
I guess it's weird because I never thought about that, but yeah, if you're doing content, it's like better or worse in certain layouts. So I guess their idea was you can kind of pick and choose, because if you apply an Astrolabe, you have like different effects that you can pick and choose from. But if one of those maps wastes a map, then what's the point, right? So you're now wasting a map to make the maps after better, but that might be a map that doesn't fit, for example, Legion or Breach, as you said. But yeah, the Keystone synthesized stability is obviously the dream. There's scenarios where you can also brick your bubble, kind of, right? Where you can cut it off.
Yeah.
So I don't really know. This is really how I wanted to play it, but yeah, it seems like some effects are way stronger than others. Like I was looking through the lists, and it does not seem you have to run different layouts if you want to make the most out of it, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, everybody saw Morlock's video, right? It's on Mike Troll with us. He did a video where he would basically hunt down the bosses, drop additional Scarabs, and then when he got that, he'd juice up the map with extra shrines to get extra bosses from terrors, and he'd drop a ton. So there are cool situations like that, but they're few and far between.
Yeah, and there's...
And obviously boss farm, and it doesn't matter what the layout is. That's fine. So for that example, it works, but for most others, it doesn't.
Yeah. Have you so Dreamcore, you've played a little bit of softcore. You've dabbled in softcore. Have you tried Astrolabes at all?
I have tried Astrolabes, yeah. One strat that I want to kind of try that I've been told is really good is just rushing currency on the bottom left quadrant for the memory vault, because it's supposed to be pretty lucrative if you just like, you know, just spam those maps out. And like you were just saying there, like
the first one, man.
Yeah, exactly, and like using the strategy that you just said to try and like cut the blob off, so you can basically just get to the thing faster. Yeah, that's one thing. But on the topic of Astrolabes, I actually think they design them really well to the point where you have the mods that are added to the maps are really nice just generally, right, for any strat that you're running. But if you're not running an Astrolabe, you can, like, farming Astrolabes is also very profitable because people are adding Astrolabe modifiers to their maps because they're really good. So it feels like there's this whole like push-pull thing going on where like you feel like you can be on the outside, right, and sell the Astrolabes if you want to, or you can be on a strategy where you just continuously farm Astrolabes, maybe even, like I said, for the vaults or just for the mods. But yeah, I think they're a generally good addition overall. They're, like you said, they're a little bit. There's like a little bit of clunk going on there with the keystone sometimes, but I think they're all right.
Yeah, too.
I agree. I like the way you just mentioned about kind of the ecosystem with people farming them for the people that want to run them. I've seen a lot of people complain about their rarity, but I actually think like it's pretty ideal. I think they're like they've done a good job on how rare they are. Even when you're farming like a lot of bosses, which I think me and Pal have been doing, you don't get a ton of them, but that means that there's value in not doing the juice strats, right? That means that the people outside of the juice can actually get involved and make some good currency, and that's what a lot of people have been doing. Obviously, if they're too rare, then it becomes a situation where no one does the juice strat, everyone just farms Astrolabes. But I think they've struck pretty close to a good balance on how rare they should be.
I think if they were more rare, all that would happen is people would just spam them, and all the exceptional gems would go down to 0. Like greater multi-strike, which you can farm in the top right quadrant, would just go down to 0, and everybody would just spam them and not think about it. I like that they're worth something, because like you said, I would rather drop 180 Chaos Astrolabe every so often than have to pick up 7 Chaos or 8 Chaos Astrolabes, right? Because that's what it kind of comes out to, let's be real. And yeah, I also think it would devalue the experience. And also, as you said, for people who don't know, you cannot drop Astrolabes if you have an Astrolabe map. A lot of people still don't really know that.
I didn't know that at the start. I learned that pretty late.
Yeah, and this is in general, like GG does this a lot, right? Where they don't want you to self-sustain. It's the same with Mirage maps. Cannot drop Mirage maps. So the Mirage maps, the ones with the implicit that make your whole map Mirage, cannot also drop Mirage maps. Because otherwise, if you had that much juice and you would cover all the bosses in the map, you would just perma-sustain, right? So
yeah, you can get a lot of bosses in your map.
Yeah, and they do that a lot. Yeah, they have a really nice ecosystem going there where they're saying either you do this, or either you sell shovels, or you do the thing, or you do the digging, right? So yeah,
I think they've done a good job like balancing that out between the two. It doesn't really. It feels like there's a really good push pull going on there. Like it's not like you're ever going to be like one side is never going to be in a bad state, because if everybody floods to doing Astrolabes, then it's suddenly going to become very profitable to just farm the Astrolabes and sell them, right? And then it's the same the other way around. So,
yeah,
I think they're a good addition. I think my initial statement might sound like I was a bit negative towards. I think they're really good. I just think we need a little bit more agency on them, and then they're very, very good. That's all I'm missing for me. Like, I don't know if there's something. I know they don't like doing like additional clicks and stuff, which is ironic. But like, if at the end of the map you got to choose from a pool of mods to add to the rest or something like that, like just something where you can have a bit more of a decision on what happens to the remainder of your maps rather than just getting random mod X.
I was thinking about this a lot because they're trying you to run different maps. They have been trying all over, right? Like memories, and then this. Over the years, they've given you the option not to, but they want you to run different maps and get rewarded for it. And I feel like that's another one of their attempt. If they want to go for this, I feel like they would need to do, like, for example, let's say a scry, right? For the divination cards on the Nameless Seer, you could also make it possible to maybe swap maps around. And then the new endgame would be to find a quadrant where you would apply blobs the most optimally and actually have like 4 or 5 maps that are all decent for your strat, and then apply Astrolabes, and they're kind of random, but like you have 5 out of 7 maps that are like decent, for example, right?
That's cool.
That would be cool, right?
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Build your own Atlas segment.
That'd be fun.
It does feel like with the new system that there's going to be improvements to come. I think there's like a few things, like we were talking about the wayfinding as well on the Atlas. I think there's going to be things that they can do to improve it. But
yeah, it's definitely ground zero, right? Like they've now got the system that they can add stuff to. It's modular. They can do more stuff.
Yeah,
I actually like the Atlas in PoE 2 and the wayfinding and all that, because it just adds there's a lot more you can do with that than just as they called it, like an elaborate checklist, right? As the Atlas was previously.
This league specifically, if you don't know that you can right-click a map or map fragment to get there on the Atlas, it can be very confusing. Because you have to first navigate to the physical location and then put it in there instead of just having a map device for everything. I like it personally. I think this is really cool. It makes it like more physical, right? Kind of like a real Atlas thing. But if you don't know the right-click, then it's like rough.
I'll say this as well for anyone that might be going schizo that's done that. If you have Scarabs in your map device when you do it, they go into your inventory. So you're not
Unique
losing
maps.
your mind if that's
Unique
happened to
maps.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've had that many times where I've thought, where are my Scarabs gone? And I've just dumped them, forgetting about them.
I like that, and that's another thing that we were talking about before with the wayfinding. Like, if you don't have the thing unlocked, like if it's in the fog of war, you just like right click it. You can't even use it, right? Like the fragment. So that was a bit weird, especially with the Eater and Exarch progression, where like you get the infinite hunger fragment, but you haven't found the place where it goes on the atlas yet. So in the old system, you'd just be able to use it straight away, right? In this system, you need to actually find where it goes. Which, again, is a bit of a teething problem for that system. Like, I think as people get experience with it, it's basically a non-issue at that point. But, like, yeah.
It was the same with Pantheons, right? Like, knowing where your cannot be frozen is, that it's in the top bottom right quadrant. It's like underground sea. I don't know where it is. But I guess that's just part of the problem solving, right? Like, is that actually a problem? It's like, I guess... We're so used to knowing everything that we can't even take a little bit of mystique, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point.
Is that an issue?
I just wonder if it should, like, if you right click it or you try to use it, maybe it should like show you the direction on the atlas or have some kind of animation, like, or feedback of actually doing something.
Then what's the point of the fog of war? I guess, right? Like, that's kind of what they want, no? I think.
I'd say yes if people actually knew like which quadrant was which to begin with, but you actually just don't really know to begin with, right? You kind of.
You mean it lights up? It lights up the quadrant to go, like a green or something, maybe.
Maybe it just shows you like the general direction, and that's where that's where you're headed. So
good.
Yeah. So one of the other things that they've been doing in this patch specifically is they've just been removing a lot of the busy work, right, from the game. Removing a lot of extra clicks, pretty much. One of the things they removed is chisels, just the basic chisels. That is. What are you guys' thoughts on that, Milky? What do you think about the chisel removal?
I've been saying for years that chisels are pointless because you either put them on every map or you run 8 mods. So if you always use something, find another way to use it. And they did it. They reduced it from 20 to 4 at one point. You didn't have to do a white map, but I've always thought they were pointless. They're like from a bygone age of where there was much less busy work in the game, and yeah, they're obsolete at this point. So about time for me.
I actually disagree. So when you put all your maps in the stash tab, right, and you put in the search box, you put 20, right, and everything's dark. Everything's dark. Nothing is audited. Mm-hmm. And you start painting, right? You can paint a picture with the chisels. All you need is like 576 clicks or whatever.
Yep.
And yeah, that's just gone. So I don't know, man. Rough. But truth be told, it was completely useless. Yeah, chisels one of those things where I love that they kept the Maven chisels because those feel impactful. It's like, I make a decision, like Scarab chisel, that's a big deal. Pack size chisel, that's a big deal. And it also costs something. Right? It's not like, these are so cheap, I would be stupid not to put it on. In fact, they could have made chisels rarer, way rarer, and then people would have to kind of think about it. Kind of like sacrifice fragments demand a fragment slot, right? Where if I want the 5 quantity, I actually like have to pay a price. But chisels were so common, you were just stupid not to do it. The only reason not to do it, and boss rushers notice, is the time investment to actually put them on. Right? So that's crazy. I mean, good riddance, right?
I will say there's a lot. There is a lot still to do now. You've got to choose between, Originator, Mirage, 8 mod, regular. Then you've obviously got Astrolabes. Then you've got the new chisels. Then you've got Scarabs. Like, there is still a lot of that involved. So losing a little bit of that is fine.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is valuable too. Most of that chain, that sequence of things that result in whatever strategy you're running, most of it's they're actually valuable now, which for a long time not everything was. Now Scarabs are a different story because for some reason they re-added Operative Strongboxes.
Crazy.
Well, every other part of the chain actually is valuable, which is great for people that don't want to farm the juice, because when the resources to do something are valuable, then more people can get involved.
Yeah, I just echo that sentiment of them just being, they're just annoying, right? it's just an annoyance having to put them on every map. And again, it's just something that you just feel like why am I doing this, right? So that's just another great change overall. Just to shave a bit. I get it's just unnecessary things in the game, right? That it feels like ever since they released PoE 2, one of the things they've been really focusing on for PoE 1, every patch is just tons of quality of life stuff. Like, just let's actually make this game like modern in a way that makes sense, right? Because you can see some of the old systems are starting to really show their age, and the new systems they've added in this patch and some of the things they've removed has definitely improved the feeling of of gameplay loop overall.
It really feels like what the meme of friction is slowly like getting demystified, right? Like this thing where more clicks equals you care more about it or whatever. It's getting more and more demystified. I wonder when that's going to swap over finally to unidentifying and whatnot, so we can finally only identify fun stuff like Watcher's Eyes or like the belts, and everything else we can kind of filter, sort of like Last Epoch, where they're still very much against that, but I think that's just the next step as well, right? Like,
yeah, we'll wear them down.
Sorry, yeah.
Identifying is in a weird place. Again, it's one of those things that they've kind of gone a little bit with it, right? With the NPC now that just identifies your items, then you still have wisdom scrolls, and like occasionally you'll use one, right? And ball scrolls, yeah.
And it's not even the one you want in your hideout, because you can't trade div cards with Helena, can you?
No.
You can just sell items and ID them with a...
So it's like weird. It's like I want to have my gem vendor there that I can also identify div cards, but then the other one can ID. and at that point, I might as well just do Scroll of Wisdoms, right? Like it would.
I do most of the time.
Yeah, same.
Then again, there's nothing that I pick up to identify anyway most of the time as well.
Yeah, I feel like occasionally you're like using a scroll on something if it's like you got to ID it like then and there, right? Like something so exciting drops, you got to ID it like then and there. Otherwise,
yeah, like a fractured item or something. You'd be like,
yeah, exactly. And then otherwise, it's like, okay, you might have like a couple of things in your inventory, then you just like, it's just in the process. You just click the vendor, like, okay, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, I wonder if they will change. Every time they get questioned about scrolls in the Q&As, it's always just like. It ends up being the same sort of answer. It's like a fill the wait kind of answer, but it's like I don't know. It feels like they've already given in halfway, right, with the NPC. So I think they should just go a bit further with it.
It almost feels like there's some investor that like really loves Scrolls of Wisdom, and they just can't say that, so they have to kind of rationalize every single time. And depending on which dev you get, they have different like explanations. But it makes no sense to me. It just doesn't. Because like identifying a Watcher's Eye or doing Gamba in general is super fun. I would never want that to go away, right? I would never want the Watcher's Eye to just hover over and then not pick it up. It just doesn't feel right. But you could call that Shrouded or something, whatever, and make it a different mechanic and just remove identifying. And if you, for example, look at PoE 2 loot, and obviously that is also not identified, but if you look at PoE 2 loot, there's way more interesting loot. There's actually items you pick up, right? Like socket items and bases. And I just wonder if PoE could have that with magic items for recombinators or whatever, right? Because how many magic items are there on the ground that you will never ID, but that would be, I don't know, 2 divines or 1 divine for a recombinator base, right? So that could add to the fun.
I guess in their eyes that would be the point though, right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise you would just set up a filter that would show you all these things, and then it's no longer valuable, because there are probably hundreds of them that you skip every single day that would have been valuable. So I don't know.
Sure.
That's probably where they're looking. But they've also got this thing that they're doing where they got asked about it and they mentioned like tiered gear, or in PoE 1 it's memory thread gear. But I don't know if you guys have been picking those up and IDing them. They're absolutely worthless because the mod pools are too big in this game.
Yep.
But I think that they clearly wanted that to be a feature of what they were doing with rare loot this league, as they mentioned in the Q&A. So I guess, yeah, it's just one step along the way until I imagine identifying rare items will either every rare item that drops will be a tiered item and be relatively good, and you'll drop far fewer of them. Or yeah, I think eventually we just get to the point where we don't ID anything.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. It feels like they. Although with that said, like especially with that Q&A, the couple of Q&As and the interviews they did with like Jung and that, like I think the general sentiment seems to be that they are moving more in that direction. Like they really feel like they're making concessions now on things that like 5 years ago or so they wouldn't have done. Right, it just would have been a complete no. Right, they wouldn't have even considered it. So it does feel like it's going more in that direction. So never say never, I think, for things like that, because there's changes that have come just in the last year or so that I would have said there's no way that's ever going to happen, right? So
yeah, well then try it. Yeah. There's tons of it.
Yeah, when
we don't have portal scrolls in PoE 2, man. Just get rid of them, please. The number of times I've done my portal scrolls and forget, it's so many. I have to do the walk of shame or log out. Please remove them.
That's crazy.
I mean, talking about loot, because we're there right now, right? Like there was a huge ground loot rework. Or, I mean, I'm saying huge, but they rebalanced some stuff and they are now dropping double the amount of high tier currencies and probably also mid tier currencies. I don't remember exactly which ones they did not name. But in general, have you guys noticed the buffs? Obviously you have, but what do you guys think about, I don't know, progression at first and then also endgame and how it now feels? Like just random currency drops and stuff like that.
Want me to go?
Yeah, sure.
Well, obviously, I mean, we all know from the campaign that it's a much different experience. That's the standout. Mapping, you say we've noticed it a lot. I haven't noticed it a ton in mapping.
Really?
Like, yeah, I don't know, like, maybe I was just blessed in the past, but if I look at my pilfering ring right now, it's not vastly different, I feel like, from before. Obviously, if you're to believe them, then it's 2x, but maybe it's just been what I'm farming, but yeah, I haven't noticed a massive difference in endgame. I think it's just been what I farmed, though. Like, I haven't been doing, the breach, currency strats, and all that.
I think I know...
right?
Yeah, I've been doing the Conqueror stuff on City Square. So you don't drop a ton of raw currency like that. I think yesterday I dropped 1 divine, so it's not even like, oh, I'm still getting these random tinks now with the changes. I know they're there, like I know everyone else is saying it, but just from personal experience, I haven't noticed it too much. I'm sure I will in the next few days when I try new stuff.
It definitely depends on what you're doing. Like I mean, I definitely notice it a lot in the campaign, like a lot in the campaign. I think I ended the campaign with like 8 exalted orbs or something, 9 exalted orbs on the first run through, which is just like, that's just wild, you know. Like getting an exalt before would have been like, oh, there's an exalt, you be actually surprised about it. I was on the first one and probably on the second one as well. Then I was like, oh, this is actually a thing now. Like, we're just getting exalts. I actually really like that. The next time, you know, when it comes to next league start, if they keep this how it is, I'll actually just be using exalts on items. Like if I have like an item that drops and it's got like move speed and res on boots, then I'll probably just like craft another res and then exalt it maybe for some life or another res or something, right? So just using exalted orbs is going to feel better, which is something that I actually really like from PoE 2. So again, I think they're just borrowing that idea there of just being able to like upgrade your currency, upgrade your gear because you have the currency to use.
It's one of the funner orbs to click.
Yeah, exactly. It is.
You should be able to click it. Like,
yeah,
for sure.
it actually, yeah. Like, okay, you don't always hit something good, but it's nice to actually use it, be able to use it even, because before you just couldn't. Like, if you dropped an exalt, you'd definitely be saving that for later when you need it. For mapping, I would say I have noticed it. It feels like just generally, like just general mapping, you just drop loot, just a bit more reliably, right? You just have just standard mapping, like no particular strat. It just feels like you're getting more generalized currency, like more ults, you know, more scours, these types of things. And I've definitely noticed a few more divines than before. And yeah, I can just say that overall that just feels like an improvement to the game, because that's where the loot should be coming from, generally speaking. I've seen pictures of people's shipments from King's March. It looks like the rewards are actually unchanged. Now, obviously, the way that you actually get them is different. So you actually do have to farm King's March now. You do have to actually get the metal. You like mine the metal from maps rather than having like this passive gold creating crops that you then send. But the rewards look to be unchanged for the most part. Like people getting huge stacks of divine still from big shipments. So I'm not really sure what I think about that, but I think it's still a good change overall, because you do actually have to invest into King's March to do that.
I'm actually really surprised by you two guys' lukewarm, like more like lukewarm response. I'm wondering if there's a little bit of a period where people have to transition into this, because I've been getting a lot more, and I've also been boss rushing similar to Milky, and I've been getting like 5 to 8 like divines randomly and like 2 to 3 fracturing orbs a day. Do you guys think that there's also a thing where, because before what you did is either you have a juicer strat and you get as much quant as possible, or you have boss rush strats where you just throw in the map and it literally doesn't matter because you don't want to chisel, you don't want to do that, you don't drop anything anyways. I've actually had the exact opposite experience. I'm dropping like a divine every 60 or 70 maps, and I'm dropping like a fracturing orb every, 100 or something maps, and it really does add up to actually go ahead and exalt all your maps and like take care of your maps. Even run 8 mod maps for boss rushing because there are so plenty anyways, and I might as well. So do you guys, or maybe Milky especially, do you think that there's maybe a thing where we need a period to reconceptualize how even while boss rushing, the quant could be a big deal because it's not a lot of opportunity cost. The chisels are now on the tree. Everybody gets the 25 quantity, and 8 mods they drop like candy. They cost nothing anyways.
I don't know about reconceptualizing, but yeah, I mean, for sure, though, it's more valuable to put quantity maps now. Like, also, the map effect is so available on the tree. You've got more points, so it just makes sense to get it. If you're not running rolled maps, then they're useless, and they're some of the best nodes on the tree in terms of how they scale your loot. Most strategies have enough points to grab them. So yeah, I would never not roll my maps at this point.
No.
There's times like I've been running some of the memory thread, the droppable memory threads. Then I'll just throw them in and do them because I'm kind of fishing for altars. So I have been running some maps white, but yeah, if you can roll your maps and it's not annoying and you don't have to do it in Aegon's inventory, then absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely noticed the currency changes more with the first strat I was doing, which is Breach Hives. I was doing Breach Hives, and then obviously I was farming fortresses, like duplicated fortress with the Mirage, which was actually really good. I just wanted to test out basically how the tree was going to perform. Now it's gone core, and surprise, surprise, is still really good. It's very, very good. The only thing it doesn't really do very reliably now is give you 6 links, which I think is a good change overall. But it's still obviously you can't craft weapons either, but it still prints very good gear. Like especially like Righteous Fire gear, right? Like 5% of players in softcore trade are playing Righteous Fire like every league, maybe sometimes even more than 5%, and it just prints really good gear for Righteous Fire. Like everything that comes out of that tree is like tier 1 life regen rate, like fire res, chaos res, just it's just like really, really good.
Huge
really
melee
good
nerf though. In hindsight, I didn't realize what a big melee nerf it is.
Yeah, it's really big.
Because I'm thinking of melee as an end game, right, where everybody's just Paradoxica and strength stacking or like stacking auras or whatever. But in early game, it's just big two-handers, big fist two-handers, and you don't just get them for free anymore. Like people would have 1,000 PDPS weapons on start of day 2 last league, and that's just gone. So they deal 30% less damage across the board, which was kind of crazy to see.
Yeah, that is a big change.
Yeah.
I felt that big.
But the core breach though, it did feel pretty good. Farming now, I gotta say. Like I don't know whether it's a Mirage thing. I don't know how good it would feel to farm without Mirage, because whenever you found a hive, like you get so much hive blood, right, and you get so many womb gifts because you're getting double hive. So that was really nice. But yeah, the tree's good. I also think another thing that's so nice about the tree, like early on as like a first farming strat in the league, is that you can pretty much like attempt to target farm the uniques that are going to be valuable in those first few days, which is really, it's probably like the best way to get those high value uniques, like early Wrathpith Globe and stuff like that. It's just going to be target farming it on the tree, and obviously you always have a chance to get like the Foulborn versions of those things as well. The other thing is like when you're doing the hives, you're getting those chests as well. Like there's always the chance to get those high value Foulborns from the chests in the hive as well. So pretty nice overall.
Yeah, I know a few people doing that on very early, making absolute bank, just clicking on those chests, even not even doing the hives. And it's weird because the Breach was pretty. People were pretty weird on Breach from last league, but it is the PoE Ninja as like the distribution of what people are doing now. Breach is of mechanics. Breach is the highest by a long way. Like people are farming Breach. So do you guys like what they did to re-bring it back? Because I think it's sick. Like it's got the hive stuff. There's like for more early league. It's got the fortress, as you say, you've been doing, which you can. I guess it's carried a little bit by Mirage, but I think that's just fun because it's cool to see all your loot drop in one place. Like that's just fun. And then obviously the currency stuff, obviously carried a bit by like. The bigger streamers doing it, but yeah, Breach is like really popular.
I wonder because the fortress, for example, they made it so that it now chain explodes, right? So you go into the hive. I mean, it like chain explodes. You go into one of the dots, and all of a sudden, all the walls in the whole map are gone. So this friction is just gone, right? Like there is no more walls. So I don't think there is anything not to like anymore, right? It's basically like a blight, almost. But a little bit less micromanaging. So it's just like very monotone, right? And the fortress is cool because of the Scarab. I really like the Scarab. That makes it more and more difficult. So you can exactly pinpoint how difficult you want it to be. So and the unstable breaches are just like old breaches. So I think they kind of backtracked actually without saying that they backtracked.
They definitely made it. It feels better than what it did before. But to be honest with you, I didn't really have that much of a problem with it before. I don't think it was as bad as what the people made it out to be. Like overall, I think it was alright. Like 3.27 wasn't the best league overall in my opinion. But I don't think the Breach rework was like this terrible thing that was just like it's not too bad overall. And I quite like the mechanic as a core mechanic in the game. I'm still not the biggest fan of the tree overall. Like I don't really think the tree is that great of a thing. It's just printing items like that. But I do like the Foulborn uniques a lot. So I guess that's like you just got to kind of accept that that's what it is, right? That's where they come from. So
I think more than just the hatred for Breach, it was just that they removed so many endgame farms last league.
Yes,
it felt like
they did.
There was nothing left, right? There was like. And Breach was just so in your face. It was like
that was the problem. That was part of the problem. It was like every map it was there, and it was like taking up half your map sometimes.
I ended up not hating as much as other people, and I only found this out when I spoke on a podcast with Fub and that before the league. I only played BV, so I never played a projectile build, and it just never occurred to me that the walls stop your projectiles. So I was in this like happy land where it wasn't that big of a deal, and I was like, why is everyone complaining? But no one ever. It just never occurred to me. So yeah, that was like a glass shattering moment where I was like, oh yeah, okay, but walls kind of suck. Yeah, okay.
I mean, that was bad. Like that was bad. That shouldn't have been a thing at all. But at least they've gone in and fixed it now. So
yeah.
One of the other things that they've sort of fixed this league is tier 17 maps. So they've changed them now. They're Nightmare maps. They're tier 16s. How are you guys finding Nightmare maps in general? What are your thoughts on that transition?
So, Mickey, you go first.
I haven't really what they did to tier 17s, other than a couple of farms specifically. Like they didn't really change them that much. It's more they gave the other stuff a little bit more power, right? In terms of like the boss rushing stuff, and then obviously the Astrolabes. But tier 17s, you lost a couple of farms. Like the big one was the cluster jewel farm. I think people will feel that. But other than that, there's not that much is different about tier 17s. And I think as the league progresses, more things will be done in tier 17s. I think I expect that to happen.
I actually don't know if that's going to happen because like tier 70s were mostly Scarab farm and cluster jewel farm, right? From what I remember. And Scarab farm, you now have Operative, and so what's actually left is a shitty layout with some boss drops, right? And the boss drops don't scale with quantity anymore. So you also have people right now. For people, they don't. For people who don't know, you have people running both of this. Yeah, but the Scarabs that nullify suffixes and prefixes, they put both in, so there's no modifiers. It's basically white nightmare maps, and they're just running through and farming the frags over and over. For example, Spicy Sushi is doing that right now all day, right? and he's just duping fragments, right? So yeah, it's kind of a farce, and 16.5s kind of solve the same purpose. So the only trade-off you have now, sorta, also with Chaos being very cheap, so you can reroll more, so the difference between 16.5s and Nightmare maps is a little bit less, right? You have this weird thing where originator maps like 16.5 just do everything better because you have a good layout. I almost feel like there's almost no reason to run a Nightmare map now for a normal farm, right? The barrels also got nerfed in Fortress, so I don't know.
No, I think you're right. Actually, what I was thinking of is a lot of like with the base stuff getting better, and they're just bigger maps with more stuff, and with the Mirage, like I was expecting some wisp stuff to be happening, but no, the way you described it, yeah. No,
and you also can't have Mirage on it, and like you said, you can't have an Astrolabe. So you have no Mirage. Okay, to be fair, you can't have a Mirage on a 16.5 either. I'm like, no, wait, you can.
You can. They're like, I don't think they're supposed to exist, but they do.
Yeah,
they said that they weren't supposed to exist, but they do.
Yeah, no. They're really expensive. They're really rare. I was farming a few.
I don't think they're supposed to exist.
Yeah, but you have that on 16.5s, but you can't have that on Nightmare maps. So I guess that's the last nail.
Yeah, I thought you could Mirage them, actually.
Maybe they got...
I remember there being said that they could be Mirage and the originator couldn't. That's why my head was going in that direction, but...
No, I've actually sold them. Now that I remember. Yeah, I've actually sold multiple ones for like 1 Divine Plus, yeah.
I'm wondering, actually, whether they mix that up in the Q&A, because it would actually make more sense if you could get the Mirage... memory thread maps and not the Nightmare ones, because the whole point of that rework was that they don't want Nightmare maps to be like the endgame farming spot, right? So it would make sense if they did. So maybe they actually just got that mixed up, and that is what they intended after all. But
it's also on the nose. It is also on the nose because they were literally in the boss regions, right? So
yeah.
It's
on the tier 17 thing with the frags not scaling with Quant. I feel like that's just more going in the direction of how these maps should have been, which is, I touched on this in the last pod, but they really should be static, right? That's what they're trying to achieve with those. So just do it, right? Just make them static.
I mean, at some point they just become unique maps.
You can, that's what I mean. I think they should have always been unique maps. Like, make them unique maps, have them like go in there and actually work out the correct difficulty, so they're somewhere between normal pinnacles and Ubers, and there you go. That's it. That's your transitional content to get to Uber bosses.
I mean, you guys remember when they had like Exarch and whatnot, and you could roll them, and people would roll them for map mods and whatnot. It feels like they draw the same lesson in PoE 2 as well, and in PoE 1, where bosses only really work if you can exactly pinpoint how strong they are, right? If you can exactly say, this is the first boss and it's this strong, and then this is the next one and it's this strong. But once you add map modifiers, I mean, I'm running Awakening Scarabs right now, and I can tell you, Feared with map modifiers is fucking, like,
it's
I mean,
of the worst.
Attack and cost speed with, like, map effect, and you're fucking toast. You're toast.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I've seen you guys getting wrecked by that.
Yeah, die beam off screen, then he puts you in a box. Then Dread does an AoE, then Shaper beams you. Yeah, it's fun.
And the dot bug, like the bug where Dread dies exactly while he's doing his attack, and then a huge area around him has like an invisible dot for, I don't know, forever, basically. Yeah. Hilarious.
Yeah, I can't do any boss rush stuff at the moment. I'm playing Castle and Stunned right now, so I literally can't do bossing at all. I've just been farming Harvest. I'm farming the moment. Yeah. Can't do any bossing. Maybe on the next build. I'm planning to reroll in the next few days, so maybe on the next one. But speaking of farming strats, and especially the Mirage, like I've been doing Harvest, so obviously Harvest being copied by Mirage, you get like these new currency items, Crystallized Rancor, which is some new crafting mechanics in Harvest, like Reforge Attribute and swapping damage stuff. I gotta say, like, though that currency alone is actually just paying for my Scarabs and my fragments, like for my mapping, and everything else is just profit, right? That's actually crazy.
Can you go over the mods real quick, because I'm also interested. I don't know all of them.
It's I think one of them is Reforge Attribute, and there's also you can swap the damage types. So like the same as the resistance ones, right? So like when you're swapping resistance for harvest, you can swap increased damage. So like
flat as well, like flat damage.
You can flat.
I don't know if it works for flat. I'm not actually sure if it works
That'd be
for flat.
crazy.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
I think it
probably not because it has different values, right? Like the increased damage is exactly in the same roll ranges, but maybe it would be weird because lightning is like 1 to 400 and fire is like, I don't know.
I feel like it should work because of the wording. I don't think it says increased damage. I think it says change like fire damage modifier. It's exact same wording as resistance, right? And resistance works on like the max res modifiers and the normal res modifiers, right? So it might actually work.
Actually, yeah.
But like I already done a few things like this league. I like bought a scepter that had it was like fire dot multi and like it was one of the unveiled mods for cold damage and freeze chance or whatever, right? And I swapped the cold damage and I swapped it to fire damage and ignite, and that scepter went from like I bought it for like 20C and it was like the divine after I'd done that on that craft.
Does it work? I wonder if it works on damage conversion as well on the gloves.
It could do. It could do. I have a feeling it might just be based on tag because it's like any like fire damage, cold damage,
any
tag.
Damage element.
Yeah, it could just be tag. I'm gonna have to do some testing on it because I haven't actually. I've only used the craft once. I used it just on that one scepter, but I know for sure that the item is like pretty valuable. As I said, I've just been selling them because they're just completely paying for all of the scarabs and frags that I'm using for that strategy. So, but yeah, on that topic, what do you guys think of how Mirage is interacting with mechanics? Like how it's actually changing up a little bit. How's that impacted what you guys are doing?
Oh, sorry to bring it up, but in PoE 2, my favorite thing was Abyss doing that. I love when they add mechanics that interact with other ones. It just makes the game feel fuller to me. So, and at this point in PoE 1, we have so many mechanics already that I felt forever that they need to add mechanics that augment them in some way. So for me, Mirage is like, I'm not going to say, it's too soon to say it's like a perfect mechanic, but it's ideal in terms of what it's doing for the game. All the stuff feels... I off the top of my head, I couldn't say that everything, but all the stuff that you get from each of the new mechanics in the Mirage feels good. Like I've done some of the Delirium cluster crafting. What you just described sounds awesome. The cord belts, I see everyone using almost if they're not using, the shrine belt or whatever. And it's just fun to. I like spending more times in my map as well. It means I have to buy less scarabs. It means I get to I don't have to do as many loads. Obviously, it's a small load screen for the thing, but. Then also having to pick between 3 things when you go in, love it. Like, just you get to actually make a decision, as however effective that decision is arguable. So I really, really, really like the mechanic, and I hope it stays. I've heard a lot of people saying it'll never stay because it just you would always have to do it, but I'm sure they could figure it out. I think it's ideal.
For me, it is if they remove the loading screen. And I don't just mean keep the buffs. I mean just remove the loading screen and it's like Scourge, right? Like in 3.16, this is the best league mechanic they've ever made. By I don't even know. Like it's so smooth, simplistic, but also so complex to balance, which is going to be a nightmare for them if they keep it. An absolute nightmare, right? Like there's so many bugs, and they have to think about it whenever something new comes up, and whenever they change old mechanics, they also have to change probably Mirage in some way. Especially when they change the loot that drops. So I think it's a perfect mechanic. It's just, I don't, now that you say that, I actually don't know how you keep it in the game because it's almost too good and overwhelming. But remember, we said the same thing with Delhi, though. I remember, and they made it so now Delhi is part of the game. So I think you're right. I think they can make it work.
Delhi was a mechanic in and of itself, though, and I feel like the most recent examples of mechanics that do what Mirage is doing were probably Wildwood and Necropolis, and they didn't stay. Well, Wildwood did, kind of, and Sentinel. Things that, add to pre-existing systems haven't had a stopping power in the game, so I would doubt it too, but I hope it does. I think it's awesome.
Fair, yeah.
I really like
so
it.
Good.
I think it's amazing. Like I just want to touch on that point you said about the Abyss in PoE 2 because I remember the first time I saw like Rogue Exiles interacting with the Abyss, like I was like, this is so good. Like that is just such a cool thing. Yeah,
First time you
exactly.
get the jewel.
Like, that is such a cool thing. And basically, this is doing a very similar thing there with a lot of the mechanics, and I do really like that. I mean, it being in the core game is a weird one. That is definitely a weird one, because, like you said, how do you really get around the fact of it just being the best thing that you can do for pretty much every strat? Because you just get double effectiveness on, you know. I don't really. I mean, look, we're the people that we see the problem with it, right? I guess we see the problem like for it being in the core game, but it's not our job to solve it. That's going to be that's going to be like I feel like this is one of those. Like, if you're GGG, which position do you want to be in? Do you want to be like the 3.27 position where a bunch of people are like kind of not very happy with the league, and then you have to make it go core and you have to kind of think about, or do you want to be in the position where everybody loves the league and now you're like, you know, how do we get this into the core game because it's kind of problematic? I don't know. It might be one of those things. Like, I mean, they said with mercenaries that they want to bring them back at some point. I think Octavian said that he's really thinking about how they can actually get them into the core game, you know, at some point in the future. Maybe it's going to be like that, where it doesn't go core straight away because they're not really sure how it goes core, but perhaps we see it come back in the future. I'm not sure, but I like it a lot.
I think they could probably make it work by just making it a lot. Either they make it very expensive, like a Scarab that's super rare, and that adds, or maybe just add a chance for a Mirage, so that it can't really be used by juicers, because if you make a really juicy map and you can't guarantee a Mirage, that's kind of screwed up, right?
I don't like that at all.
Yeah, but
I have to jump on that because, dude, at the end of every league becomes people fishing for Wildwoods, and it's so cringe. And
yeah, it is. That is true.
I really don't think making it just a flat % chance is ever the answer. It's so cringe.
That is true. Yeah.
Like, it's fun. It's fun for people. I guess maybe that's just like an elitist thing. Maybe it's fun for most people, like, well, to have a chance for Mirage. Like, the fact that I don't like people fishing for Wildwood doesn't mean Wildwood shouldn't exist. So it's complex, I guess. Yeah.
I do think, now that I actually think about it, it probably is going to be like you just said. Like, it's going to be like a Wildwood thing, isn't it? Like, where you can't really deterministically make it happen. It's just there, and you're like, oh yeah, nice. Like, I get like 2 times my loot this map or something, right? But it's not going to be something that you can actually invest into, because I feel like if it is, then people are just going to always have that. It's going to be like, okay, I'm doing Breach, I'm doing Breach and Mirage, or I'm doing Legion, I'm doing Legion and Mirage, or Harvest and Mirage. Right? That's what it's going to end up being like. If it keeps the same mechanics, that is, right? It could be that they change it in some way. Like, who knows? Like, right now we just have the base league, and it's there in every map, but perhaps they change it somehow.
Just make it so you like spec into it, and then whatever mechanic you do, you don't get the duplication, but whatever mechanic you do with it can then drop the new stuff. Or
gets like the extra mechanics. Yeah, maybe it just gets like the extra mechanics. But then it needs to be, then it has to be worthwhile for that thing, because like, I mean, what do you guys think of that? Would that be valuable enough if you just had the extra stuff on top? Like, so for example, King's March would get like the dust farm, right? Like, you got the ore that turns into dust, or you would get like the crystallized rancor from Harvest. I don't know if it would be enough.
No,
I don't think so. I imagine it just they either make those things go core, like they just put cord belts in white and they just put rancor in Harvest. I could see them doing that as well.
What if they do it this way? You have the Wildwood stuff, and you have like, okay, 5% chance to spawn in any map, let's say. And whenever you have it, it's super fun. Okay, fishing, yada, yada, yada. But most people are just going to play normally, and sometimes they have a Mirage and they're going to be stoked. They're like, oh, this is another Mirage map. I need to like act up, like pay attention, right? But you also have Mirage maps that are actually still in the game, and they're super expensive for juicers, but they're separate from Origin. So they're actually, you now have to decide. So you keep that part, and then you make it a very rare, cool occurrence, or maybe make it even rarer and like keep it at full power and make it like a 2% chance. And it's like dropping a divine kind of rare that you get a Mirage in your map. And if you want to guarantee it, you pay like 2 divines for a Mirage map. Maybe that's the way. Make it a luxury thing.
just speaking off the things in the game that already do that, I wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think that's a really hard thing for them to get into the core game. Like I didn't really think about this at all because we're not even 1 week into the league yet, right? About it going core. But now that I am thinking about it, I do think they're in the more favourable position though, right? It's a league that people, from what I've heard, people love it, right? And I've been really enjoying it. You guys have been enjoying it. Compared to like Breach was a little bit, a bit sort of hit and miss there, and that one kind of felt like even before we got to that end announcement where they put it into the core game, we kind of all knew that it was going core, right? Everyone knew that there was no way they were bringing back like the old Breach laws and stuff. There's just no way.
No.
I
was surprised that people were surprised to that. All the tweets came out. I was like, well,
so, but yeah, they're definitely in a more favourable position overall because they've got a league that people like and they can now decide what to do with it. It might be the case, like I said, that it just doesn't go core straight away.
I feel like the pile of mechanics that aren't in the game that are coming to the game is getting very big.
It is getting
mercenaries, totes, potentially those. It's getting quite big.
I do remember that people loved Scourge, and while you could say, "Oh, Scourge is now beyond," they did not like. People really liked Scourge, and they didn't even flinch removing it, right? And Scourge is the nearest to Mirage that we've ever had. Obviously, nowhere near as powerful, but probably the nearest. And they didn't even flinch not returning it. So, I don't know.
I am kind of surprised that with the loading screen thing really surprised me. Like, obviously I knew about it before the league was starting because it was there in the Q&As and stuff. But like they have the tech. It was like 10 leagues ago, right? Scourge was like 10 leagues ago. Why is like? I wonder why it's not like that.
I think they said that
there's got to be
it was just so they could do more stuff, right?
Yeah,
some of the stuff it enables with different mods and different mobs and different mechanics. I assume it's just more of a load. I imagine like it just requires like you probably have to have a longer load time into your map, I guess, to load all that. And I don't know much about how it works, but I would assume that you would just have to have a longer load screen in general rather than splitting it into two.
Yeah. Yeah, it does feels a little bit weird, I would say. One of the other things I think would be really nice, like quality of life wise, is when you actually speak to Varashta and you pick the mod. Like, I think it should take you into the thing rather than opening a portal that you have to then click on.
Yes.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Yep. Choose your thing,
100%.
Teleport you in there, and then also I think when you click that button, you should just teleport out of the thing rather than them being teleported to the portal. And then so there's a few things there that could be improved upon for sure. But another thing, while we're on the topic of improvements, right, for that mechanic, like there should be icons on those things rather than it saying like when it says like 80% more currency, there should be the currency icon. Like we've had this in every other league, right? We have the icons that everyone knows, like the unique icon, currency icon. Like just put it there, then you can immediately see what it is, and like you kind of draw.
I guess one thing I want to add is I don't really think most of these options are really hype. And I know it's already a strong mechanic, so asking for more is kind of stupid. But is it really... Are any of the options other than Rhydon, the one that if you're boss rushing exactly, for people who don't know, you can get multiple boss invitations with destructive play and whatnot. But other than that, is there really something that's really... I guess 100% more currency or 80% more Scarabs if you're exactly doing that strat. But there's just so much like caches that nobody ever opens that do absolutely nothing. I wonder if they could maybe tier it and just make it, oh, no, you get 20% more currency or 60% more currency, but remove all that make the stash maybe campaign only, the stashes and the caches.
Oh, I see. I think there just needs to be, this is maybe coming from Torchlight, I think there always needs to be a 0.1% option. There needs to be something crazy that can happen.
Yes. Yeah.
And there isn't with this. Other than
Rhydon is not that. Rhydon is like the
1%. Then it's not even that, right?
Yeah.
There's Nameless here, there's Reflecting Mist, but those aren't really that either.
No.
I think there always needs to be like a GG outcome, like you find a Divine Altar or something like that, you know what I mean? And this doesn't have that. But the mechanic, as you say, is just inherently powerful. Like, it didn't need it. It could have just duplicated your map and it would need nothing else. But yeah, they are a bit like milk toast, aren't they? They're not that cool.
There is some pretty interesting things with some of the options, like from like a hardcore perspective, which is, I know, such a small amount of the player base, but like the Divine Shrine, for example, like you get a Divine Shrine next to an ultimatum. There you go, like easy 10-wave ultimatum, you can't die. So there's
someone with a bad build on League start. I abuse the Divine Shrine thing a lot.
Or when you have a feared map with Awakening Scarabs, you're like, okay, if I get feared, because you can duplicate feared in the other instance.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I'm taking that. I don't need that.
You can't Echoing Shrine exert attacks, though. I didn't know that. So you actually have to click it off every time you get the Echoing Shrine.
Ugh.
That's annoying.
I think that's because multi-strike doesn't work, right, with the exerted attacks. Like, you can't support. So I think that's probably a similar functionality there. That's why that's not working.
Yeah, first one I went in, I just did 0 damage and no idea why. So I gave everything else a Divine Shrine.
How is Holy Hammers, by the way? I saw you playing Holy Hammers. It looks really good.
It's fun. So the only issue I have with that skill is it's way more melee than it looks, right? Because when it hits, it goes. But if you're against a hard mob, you actually have to hit it for the cascade. So it's deceptively melee. Like, you feel it and it's melee in the worst situation, which is when
what do you need to hit?
So you have to hit the mob for the other cascades to go off, right? For the one that goes behind it. So like Sunder, you fire it and it goes.
Yeah.
The hammer, you have to hit with the first hit for it to go. So it's worse in the worst situation, if you know what I mean. Like, when there's a mob that, I wish I could hit this guy from further away. Nope, that's when you have to be up in his face, and that's when you get bopped. So that was something I didn't think about before I played it. But other than that, it's amazing. Like, I just love clear skills, and so I would never have given up the chance to play Holy Hammer. It isn't exactly what I wanted, but yeah, it's really good. And the overlaps, you're not getting them. Very rarely you get them. If you've got any mob that will run you down, if you've got anything that's small, you're not getting them. If you've got a big guy that doesn't move, then yeah. But as I mentioned, with the having to hit something to get the cascades, you have to scale as much AoE as possible, which makes it harder to overlap because you have to aim further away and be more precise about where you aim to actually get the overlaps.
It's actually really awkward, with the overlaps, because if you don't get the overlaps on single target, it's a lot less damage, right? Compared to Sunder, it's like, I think it's like 30% less damage or something compared to Sunder, or maybe it's slightly more. And then it's also
you have to aim. So you have to aim like. No, you don't. You can hit obviously with the first and the second in the column.
Yeah,
but you actually want to hit with them
sideways. Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to like stand and then turn 90 degrees and then hit the ground in front of you. And
it reminds me of like Shield Crush, Shield Crushing.
You can't name lock the mob because otherwise.
You can't. Yeah. I name lock all the time and then I just do no damage. It's great. Yeah.
Those are the most annoying skills. Yeah. I don't like skills like that in general. I don't like it on Lightning Strike. I don't like it on Smite. It always looks so good in PoB. You like tick the thing and then you put 2 and then you play it in game and you're like, that's not doesn't sound right. I don't play perfectly, so it's not real, right? So yeah.
It was nice to this was a surprise. We got the Infamous mods back, right?
Oh yeah.
That I wasn't planning around, but if I'd have known that on League Start, I would have had a much better League Start. Because I ended up going RT. But if I knew that helmet existed, it would have been a breeze.
Yep.
I really like them, like adding those things back in to like a league, just to spice it up a bit. People are always like so excited when those things come back as well, because it's like it was there in Mercenaries League, and it made some pretty interesting builds. And then when it got removed, I think people were a little bit disappointed, but they kind of knew in a way that it was going to get removed because they're very powerful. But I like them to kind of bring it back. It feels a bit like they did this with the Triad of the Ancestors, right? Where they had like omens and tattoos, and they kept kind of cycling them back in like League content, like they did it in Affliction. And then obviously they kind of found a more permanent place there in like Kingsmarch shipping for the tattoos. But yeah, I do like that, them kind of cycling in rewards, because those sort of things, like that makes PoE 1 for me. Like those interesting like build defining mods that you can just, they turn up in one league and now like a new build is viable and it's fun. You can like build around something new.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Void was using the chain gloves. There's There's like gloves that give traps and mines plus 2 chain.
This one. Yeah.
Crazy effect. Absolutely crazy.
And with the new chain gem.
That's crazy, yeah. Yeah, I saw it in blasting maps the other day, Void. He's going crazy.
Yeah, he loves that skill, Icicle Mine. He absolutely loves it. He tells me to try it every day. But yeah. How's so Milky League Starter going pretty well. How about you, Dreamcore? You dabbled in softcore trade?
Yeah, so I'm now playing Castwind Stun. Before that, I was playing Bone Shatter Bleed in hardcore SSF. So I died, and then obviously I rolled softcore trade now. Yeah, I mean, I'm just like I said, I can't do any bossing at the moment because I'm playing Castwind Stun, but I'm just farming up in Harvest, and I'm gonna make a new build. I think in the next couple of days, I have some pretty cool ideas for the new Timeless Jewel, the ward based Timeless Jewel. So probably
so good
doing something with that. What about you, pal? How did your league start go?
On what you just said before that the ward stuff has me really excited, but I think it's unfortunate timing for me because I really want to play with the shrine belts, right? But then ward is all around Indus belt.
Yeah.
And without Indus, that build kind of falls apart. So it's like weird because then you can't use the new shrine, and I wanna use the new toys, right? But
I'm not gonna lie, when I saw the ward jewel, I did think that would be your second build. I was thinking about it as well.
I was thinking about it as well, but it's just like I just the shrines are so cool. I don't know. I got to do something interesting. But on my topic, I had a really easy league start getting Fusillade already tested it before. It didn't get changed. I want to say the totem placement speed changes. The totem placement speed changes for everybody who hates totems. It's crazy. Like it's now not it's totems and self-cast. It's like something in between, something way closer to self-cast. How snappy it is. It now takes 0.2 if you have 200% placement speed, which is possible in every build, by the way. If you just have to invest into mediums on other builds, but on hero it's free kind of. It's kind of like a trade-off. But it takes you 0.2 seconds for your totems to plop up. It actually looks comical. It looks like it doesn't belong in the game. It's like right, like that kind of thing. That's how it looks like. But it's ridiculous. And one thing I love about an easy league start like this is I had so much time to think about farming strats, which I haven't had in a while because I just have to babysit everybody. But now everybody's just so happy with the build, and then it's like, okay, now I can actually think about other stuff. So that was pretty fun with the new Atlas and everything. But really fun. But I also wasn't as brave as, for example, Milky, and I didn't play a new skill, right? So that's
I did not have time to think about Atlas.
I did put you a little bit on the spot with the podcast, I guess, because you're probably going to figure out a lot of other stuff in the coming week, right? Once you actually have a full.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we've seen a lot already. There's so much cool stuff, and I don't want to go too much on the video. I've seen so much like, the only boxes is good, only breaches is good already.
I mean, do start.
There's so many things to explore, and
yeah,
I'm going to be doing that. But I will say, I think the City Square stuff that we've both been doing is so fun that I ended up doing it for way longer than I thought I would, because it's just, I really like farming boss in this game, especially because they like we were saying earlier, they actually drop, like even just the Chisels, 40, 50C every night, like every month, you're just getting a few of that. It's just so fun. So yeah, getting off of that is going to be hard. But the other thing was the threads, right? I think you were in my stream yesterday. I was doing that, trying to make those work. Unfortunately, you can't. Aegon's a noob, so he only has 3 Scarab slots in his map device, and that is really hindering. It's like a massive issue with farming those things, because otherwise they'd be really, really good. Because the problem I had with Petals is that you couldn't know what you were going to get. But now with the altars, you can know when you're going to get the mods that are really good, so you can play around with it and get Scarabs that are good for it and stuff like that.
Expensive Scarabs. Yeah. Usually you would have to do it in the dark. And now you can actually...
Oh, right, yeah, you'd be spamming good Scarabs every time and all flames. Yeah, exactly. Before you'd just be wasting 9 out of 10 maps. So, yeah, we need Aegon to crack on and get his completions done so he can have some fun farms.
I wonder why it doesn't just upgrade with your Atlas progress. I
actually just did a bug report yesterday. I just /bug fix Aegon.
I think Aegon just... he doesn't know how to get his 5th slot because he hovered over and did all 10 invitations, but he still didn't get it for some reason. But now for people who don't know, if you don't have your 5th unlocked yet, it's just a nightmare map. It's just like
it's bugged.
It's bugged right now.
Yeah, it says 10-way, but it's I guess they just missed that one with the tier 17 change. But
so what are you looking for? You said obviously the operative strongboxes, which is like
I hate those.
The Mirage strongboxes, which just spews out Scarabs, and this. I mean, you know what I feel about
I don't know how I feel about it. Whether I like that they're just a non-issue for most things now. Like you can just have Scarabs whatever you're doing, and then part of me likes it, part of me hates that they're worthless. I'm undecided on that. I don't know how you guys feel. Really undecided. I've never been on the fence about something like this for a while on the Scarab situation.
I hate it.
It's weird.
I absolutely hate it because I like picking up Scarabs, and I'm now in the situation where I feel bad clicking on some 3 stacks of Scarabs. And now, if I was gonna do so, there's a weird thing. I said this the other day. People look at me sideways when I pick up Val Orbs, but they will literally pick up Scarabs that are 5-1 chaos, and then say, "No, but I can 3-1 them," and it's like, that's a lot of time, right? Like that's a lot. There's a reason why they're 5-1. So it's like,
it. Whenever the like useless ones are like, even they're normally like 2-1 or a bit less.
In the past,
now they're like 10-1. It's like even
crazy.
People aren't even 3-1ing them. They're that easy to farm with strongboxes. Strongboxes did not need to be able to farm 6 inventories worth of Scarabs per map. I don't think it's that like controversial to say so, right? I think most people agree with that. I think it's a big oversight, and it's very damaging as well. If you agree that it's a bad thing, it's very damaging to the economy.
Yeah,
not in the worst way. I don't want to be a doomsayer and say anything's doomed or anything. It obviously has positives as well, but yeah, I don't like it.
I wonder why they brought back the Operatives Strongbox, actually. I feel like it's another one of those things where it's like, it's something that they have. I was talking about that earlier with like the mercenary modifiers on items. It's like something that they have that they feel like they can bring it back in a mechanic, and it's like, oh, you have this thing now for this league, but it's not going to be there all the time or whatever. Mm-hmm. But that one in particular doesn't, I don't think it feels great overall, because it's just pooping out Scarabs. Like
it's so binary as well. There's nothing interesting about the farm. It's just throw on containment and one of each Scarab and go, right? There's nothing like, it's not difficult. It's difficult to not lose brain cells clicking that many times per minute. But...
yeah, I don't know.
And it's even crazier because it's a strat where you don't even click on the normal strongboxes, right? Like you barely click on Arcanists, I guess, and then Diviners. And
they stopped using discernment actually, so they don't even get those in the regular map.
Yeah. So and then you go into the Mirage, and that's where all your currency is. Like it's wild. But I don't like Scarab farms in general. I think Scarab farms like this feeding into other strats, it feels wrong. But I'm like you, Milky. I can't really describe why I hate it. It's just like reflexive kind of. So I don't know.
Just feels like it's one of the things you can scale from your Atlas tree.
Yeah.
So when that sucks, it's like, oh.
But it's also the one thing that juicers default into instead of finding a niche, right? Because there's no niche. If you can farm Scarabs, you don't need to decide, oh, I'm doing Legion, I'm doing this. I'm just mobs, right? Yeah. Is that good or bad? I don't know. I can't say.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
I feel like that's just replaced like the typical, you're just general farming. Right, you're generalized into nothing in particular. You're just picking up Scarabs. Like in a way, that feels like it's replaced like instead of I'm dropping like a divine or whatever, I'm just dropping some valuable Scarab or something. And
I guess it did replace the divination cards, right? In a sense, because people used to hunt for divination cards, and now they're so rare that you rarely hunt for them, right? So maybe that's the idea. But I thought
I like that.
Sorry, yeah.
I love farming div cards. With the plenty Scarabs and pilfering, it's my favorite farm these days.
Yeah, but I just mean, like, for example, the Strongbox strat back in Defiled Cathedral, right, where it's like you're gonna drop apothecaries, right?
Yeah.
And I guess that's not as much of a thing. It's still there, but way less than it used to be, right? It's not. It's kind of like an afterthought almost. It's like a scry, but yeah, now it's just spewing out Scarabs. And let's be honest, if we did a real filter, 95% of Scarabs right now would be hidden. It's true. I mean,
a lot of them would be. Yeah. Well, normally you would, right? You'd have this actually be like, "Oh, let me liquidate my Scarab tab." Not gonna bother him.
I did that. There was like 10 Scarabs that I bothered clicking on, and there's like thousands of other Scarabs where I'm like, oh, I have 120 of these. Let's see how much I can get. 9 chaos, nice, and stuff like that. It's like, why am I clicking on this stuff? And I'm still clicking. So I don't know.
I do like the change they made to the Scarab tab, by the way. The layout of the Scarab tab looks better.
I recoiled when I first looked at it, but I ran on me a little bit. When I first saw it, I genuinely went, "Guys, what is this?"
It's like your muscle memory, muscle memory effect. Yeah. I think the other layout was just worse, right? Just having it in like a thing, it's just easier to locate but what you want to find. But yeah. All right. Well, I think that just about wraps up all the topics we wanted to get through to this podcast. So, yeah, have you guys got anything else you want to say about the current patch? How you guys are feeling, or what build you're looking to roll into?
Blade Vortex. That's what I always roll through. I'm gonna do it again. Palstron's gonna laugh at me for using Herald of Ice, and that's gonna be that.
What about you, pal? We know you've got a bell hiding. What's going on? Come on, what, you going to leak the build?
Oh, I'm not sharing my build. I'm like, take me out to dinner first. But
okay, does it have 1 or 2 mods?
I'm already scared because I wanna make guides that people can follow, but I also know it's not gonna happen. With the belt,
it's just not a thing, right?
I can't. I want to have fun, right? It's like those belts are so fun. Diamond Shrine, Acceleration Shrine, Echoing Shrine. Those are all so fun, and they're also going to be ultra expensive. I can't.
Everyone that followed you and played KF Totems is balling. You're fine.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. If they don't have money, and they have a life, that's their fault, right? They have like a family and like loved ones and stuff like that. That's their fault. Yeah.
I think when it comes to like a second or third build in a league, you can always just throw out like an endgame POV and like, this is how I did it. Like, you don't have to, there doesn't have to be like a full build guide thing for that in particular. Like, league starting is a bit different because that's like when the build guide really is needed. But
yeah,
it also depends on how like niche the build is, right? Like the build I made last league was like very niche, and I just threw out the POB and there it is. Like people liked the people that played it liked the build. I didn't tell anybody how to build it or whatever. I just talked about what I was doing and that was it. So.
I'm gonna make a Diamond Shrine build, and then I'm just gonna do the YouTuber thing where I say, oh, you can also use a leather build with triple res instead, and they're gonna have like 5 crit and 600.
Just get an angler rune instead.
Oh yeah, true. All you need is a fishing rod. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely want to do something with that new Timeless Jewel. Something to do with ward. It's probably going to be a static strike build. So I'm looking forward to that. But
snapshot the core damage, right?
That's right. Yeah. Get some big duration scaling. So
I wonder. Sorry, before I cut you, I wonder if it's going to be annoying to play because maybe sometimes you want to press the static strike and then you get hit right before the ward is off and you hit like a wet noodle and then you have to click again. I'm just wondering if that's going to happen. If it's going to be super annoying.
I'm going to try so my plan is I'm definitely going to be going block. I'm not sure if it's Gladiator yet, but it's going to be block. And I want to do the buffed Olroth node, the one that gives you 50% less damage over time taken when you have Unbroken Ward. So the idea is going to be like most of the time when I have static strike up, I'm just running around, right? And it's just damaging everything. I have my ward up. The ward's protected by block. And then if I walk on like damage over time ground effect or something, I'm barely taking any damage, right? To like, because obviously ward doesn't do anything for damage over time. So that's actually a really nice node to have. But yeah, I agree. There's definitely going to be some of that. The build has a bit of clunk. I'm not gonna lie. Like I guess I'm kind of known for like my tolerance to clunk because I was already playing like Bone Chatter. Right, last league I played like a melee totem build. It's just like so.
You're gonna press ambush as well.
I think you kind of have to actually.
Yeah, you could go phase acro. By the way, I think phase acro is super underrated as well, especially after the suppress nerfs. Super underrated. And you can also get 75% avoid from the jewel if you're at 150 spell suppress and whatnot.
Yeah.
Avoid elements, right? But yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of options there. I actually really like that they're just putting more support into the game for Ward. I know that some people just hate Ward as a mechanic. I think it's actually a pretty cool mechanic in terms of how it actually functions. But the support was just never there for it. Now it feels like they're kind of adding in more and more things. It is still a bit set in stone in terms of the understand belt. So I kind of would like them to build out on that a little bit more and maybe add, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe there should be a Ward body armor in the game. Like, I'm not sure
There has to be.
But yeah, perhaps they add more. Well, one thing that we have heard from them, like in the Octavian Q&A and stuff, is just like they're open to building on leagues, even if it's not the current league that they're kind of adapting or like building onto. Like they talked about having the Breach story like continue and adding more things to Breach, even outside of that being a league. So who knows? Perhaps they'll do more with like expedition stuff and King's March and things like that, even when it's not the current league.
Yep.
And add in new mechanics. All right, so Milky, let us know, like, where can people find you if you're making any content coming up or anything like that? Shout yourself out.
Just Twitch TV MilkyBK_. I haven't really been making many YouTube videos, but you can find me there as well. Same user.
All right, and Pal, what are you up to, and where can people find you?
YouTube.com/Palstron, and same thing on Twitch. And I'm just going to be making some builds. I'm super motivated. I don't know what to say. I haven't been so motivated in a while. Like, I'm just pumping out videos. It's like
he's popping off, as they say. He's popping off.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yep, and you can find me at Dreamcore GG on YouTube. And yep, I'm going to be making a new build soon. It'll be something to award. But yeah, Milky, thanks for joining us on the second episode of the PoE Report. It's been fun having you on there.
My pleasure.
And
thanks for having me.
We're signing off. Thanks for watching, guys.